Welcome to Crafting for Profit Live, episode 22. It is our last episode of 2024, and we wanted to thank you all for joining us for this first season of our podcast. It means so much to us that you've come along this podcasting journey with us.
So today we're chatting with Jessica Castellini from JC Boutique, and she is here to share her journey as a small business owner and how she uses her white toner printer to create amazing products. So, whether you're curious about adding white toner printing to your own crafting arsenal or you just want to hear pro tips about running a small business, this is definitely the episode for you and you don't want to miss it. So, Jessica, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Jessica with JC Boutique here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm excited to be here today and appreciate the opportunity to come talk with you guys and all of your fans.
I know I'm really excited about this episode because I've been using my white toner printer a lot lately.
Me too.
All right, so we are going to start. We have a bunch of questions for you. The first one here is, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with JC Boutique and how you started with a white toner printer?
So my JC Boutique journey, it started out as my degrees in graphic design. I did that for close to 20 years, and this was always my side hustle. I started out with a Cricut and vinyl and moved into sublimation, and then my side hustle just got big enough to where I was done with the rat race and decided to open our own little shop. We opened a brick and mortar store in January of 2020, and COVID hit in March. Yeah, I know, it was great. So great planning. But we did already have a website and Etsy, so we had an online presence. We were able to do, curbside pickup and orders and get through that horrible, little spill. But I started out with vinyl like most people do, moved into sublimation. Once I opened up a store, it was very obvious people want prints on black shirts, and those just are not mediums to do that. So I actually went through the DTF experience and then ended up in the white toner with a white toner printer. We've had it, I think, went on 3 years now, and it is just an amazing piece of equipment. It's one of my favorite things that I use here next to my laser.
That's amazing. I feel like that's a journey that a lot of people go through. But we might have listeners that are not familiar with white toner printing. So can you kind of explain what a white toner printer is? How does it differ from other printers? And also, it's not just apparel. So outside of apparel, what other products do you create?
Yeah. So you have, most people when they go to get t-shirts made, screen printing is your OG original way to do things, screen prints and ink. And then, the digital world came along and you have sublimation, which is great. There's no feel on the shirt, but it does not work on cotton. It does not work on dark fabrics. And then you have like DTF printing, which is very similar to white toner printing, except for it uses a liquid-based ink, and white toner printing uses a dry ink. So there is no clogging, there's no cleanup, there's no powder. Is a very user-friendly process, in my opinion. There's a couple caveats once you learn how to do a few of the, adhering the adhesive to the print, sometimes that gives you a little trouble. But once you learn it, it's definitely a very clean process. And it works on polyester, it works on cotton, it works on pretty much any fabric. And when I got it, it really was advertised as for shirts. But does so many more things because all you have to do is switch the paper and you can be making custom tattoos, or they have paper for hard materials and rigid materials. So I make earrings, I make coasters, I make koozies, I make headbands, I make ornaments. I make so many things with that white toner printer. I still use my sublimation printer quite a bit, but I gave away my DTF printer. I literally just gave it away to a lady because I didn't want to deal with cleaning the clogs. But it runs here daily, the white toner printing, and we just do so much with it.
Yeah, I love that. One, it's safer than DTF printing because you're not
Agreed.
dealing with the powder and the fumes and all of these other things. It's faster than a DTF printer.
So
I mean,
fast.
it's like literally like seconds. It's like just so fast. And then no maintenance, right? That's a huge thing because if you're not printing every day, you're kind of screwed with a DTF printer, or at least the ones that are on the market right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like DTF printing is having its moment all of a sudden, like everyone is buzzing about it. But you need to look at white toner as well because you are going to get so frustrated, like you said, with the maintenance, the mess of the powder, all those safety issues. And you can fix all that just with a white toner printer. And I feel like the cost difference is there. However, once you factor in all those maintenance things and all that time you have to put into DTF printing, it's going to pay for itself in the long run with the extra investment in the white toner printer.
Yeah, so when we switched from DTF to white toner, we here in Cincinnati, I know it's hard to remember, but our Bengals went to the Super Bowl. And my shop had lines out the door to get apparel made. And at the time we were using DTF. It took about 18 minutes for me to print a full sheet on a DTF printer. I slept on the floor with an 18-minute timer to get up and feed the paper one after another. And at the end of that season, I was like, okay, there has to be a better way. And that's how I found the white toner printer. And I think I can print, I don't know, 20 sheets a minute now. And then, it takes me 2 minutes to get it all put together and ready to go. And now I have just walls of prints out there. My people come in, they grab a print, they grab a shirt, we make it while they're here. 5 minutes, they're out the door.
What a great business model. That's awesome.
It is fun.
All right. Let's see. Oh, we actually kind of already covered my third question here, which is talking about it compared to other methods. So I'm going to steal Angie's question here and say, how has a white toner printer transformed your business? Has it made a huge difference? Has it just replaced DTF? How has it changed it?
No, it has made an enormous difference. So one, DTF took a lot of time, and it would take me an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes to clean a clog out of a printer. Do you know how much stuff I can get done in 2 hours? And its speed alone makes me more productive. So, and then we're able to do like the little packs of tattoos. I just sell tons of them. The cheerleading teams love them. The sports teams, they've just added so many different things. I never would have thought about making part of our, in our business out there. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like I would say our business has grown at least double revenue wise since adding that white toner printer. And a part of it is having we call it make and take. So we have a make and take section. We keep all of our local school teams out there. We keep, our themed things for our sports teams out there. Like when holidays are going on, there's a wall of Christmas t-shirts out there. They just come in, they grab their print, they grab their shirt. It's so easy. And then, if they want to get their name on the back or something, we can turn that around the next day and they can come in and have a personalized shirt. We're able to do spirit wear runs for whole groups of people now. It just really has made it to be where we can do a lot more in a shorter amount of time. And my 12-year-old can press shirts and peel shirts. My dad was almost 80 years old and he was in here peeling shirts and making shirts. It's something I've been able to teach other people to do. And I can't teach them how to do the design part of my job, but it made it very easy. But DTF was not that way. I could not help younger people or people not experienced learn that process of powdering and heating and getting it all right. This is dummy proof, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like when I started using my white toner printer, it was like there is a little bit of a learning curve, but you spend enough money on this printer. It's not a cheap printer.
Correct.
You spend enough money on it that you are going to put in the work to make it work, right? Like it's not like, this material is not going to work. I'm just going to not do it. It's like, okay, I got to figure this out. And it really didn't take me that long to get past that learning curve. I actually was chatting with the guys at Creo who make a white toner printer that we like, and they were saying you got past that learning curve a lot faster than, a lot of people do. But I think it was because I was just so determined. I was like, okay, I have this machine. I have to get through it. let's figure it out. And it really wasn't that bad.
Mm-mm.
I also love, like, the holidays are coming up. We were talking before we went live that you're going to close for a week. You don't have to worry about that white toner printer sitting there for a week. Like a DTF printer, if you don't print on that thing every day at least, it is going to have a clog. But a white toner printer, you could just put it away for a month, pull it back out, and print. Like, that's the part I love about it, which is why I only have white toner print. I only have a white toner printer. I don't even have a DTF printer. Have some videos on it. We went to Heat Transfer Warehouse and used one of theirs. And that was enough to convince me that there was no way I could handle the daily maintenance and it's like having a toddler at home. I couldn't handle adding that toddler to my craft room.
I think though, I do think that DTF printing is going to advance over the next several years, and there will be better DTF machines. But I do think that white toner printing is just always going to be cleaner and safer. I just don't think DTF is ever going to get to the point where it's as clean and safe and fast as a white toner printer. Maybe you guys can come back in like 5 years and maybe I'll be wrong. But I really feel like the advantages of a white toner printer are a lot. There are a lot of advantages over a DTF printer, even as DTF continues to evolve and get better.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm waiting on those improvements. I really am.
Yeah.
I would like to jump on the DTF bandwagon at home, but I just can't do it. I
Yeah,
can't
not
have
yet.
that toddler.
I already have 2 9-year-olds. Well, I don't need a toddler.
And the DTF printers aren't cheap either. I mean, I spent several $1000s on mine, and I gave it away. I used it a year and gave it away.
Yeah. I mean, the difference, I mean, like we were saying, a white toner printer is not inexpensive. It's several $1000s, but the cost difference between a DTF printer and a white toner printer is, it is a little bit, but what you gain in your
Mhm.
time and your health and your safety is probably worth that extra cost.
Also, your sanity. Let's just
And your
face it.
sanity.
Absolutely.
All right. You mentioned heat transfer warehouse, so should we have a little commercial break?
Let's do it.
So if you want a white toner printer, we are so happy to recommend the Creo printer, which is sold by our friends at Heat Transfer Warehouse. They have a bundle that basically gives you like everything you need to get started. It includes obviously the printer itself, several different types of film, so you can go ahead and start making those tattoos and the hard surfaces and the apparel and all of those things, plus free training. So it's pretty awesome.
Yep. So if you would like to check out the bundle, like maybe you're thinking about diving into this in the new year, it's link.craftingcamps.com/white toner, and that's all one word. If you're joining us on the YouTube live, I have put a QR code in the corner. If you don't want to spell all that out, you can scan that QR code and head there. Or we put the link in the description below the YouTube video as well as in the podcast notes for you. So yeah, check it out. And if you've thought about getting into white toner printing, it may be the time for you. You can justify it for your business. Heat Transfer Warehouse is a great resource. I feel like purchasing something this expensive, you want to go with someone that has a good reputation. I would never purchase a DTF printer, a white toner printer on a place like Amazon. Never.
Never.
So I feel like going to a place like Heat Transfer Warehouse where you have a person to chat with when you have issues is the way to go with this.
Yeah. And Creo's customer service is also amazing. They are amazing folks over there. Angie and I have now spent quite a bit of time with them. We met up with them at Printing United. We went out to a Hofbrau. It was awesome. So we love the guys there. We love the people at Heat Transfer Warehouse. And if you're looking to buy one, we think that is our best recommendation on where you can go.
And the Creo printer also comes with a little tablet, and it has access to videos right on the tablet. So you can just sort of access the videos and sort of do the training yourself right at home. So I think that's another advantage for that one.
Absolutely.
All right, next question. So a white toner printer, we just said it is not cheap. So Jessica, how have you offset the cost of the printer with your business?
So when I first got the white toner printer, the biggest shell shock for me was the price of the paper. It is $4 every single page. And I was like, wow, that's a lot for a piece of paper, right? So by making all of those smaller items, so when you see one of my transfer sheets, I will have 2 t-shirts, maybe 3 or 4 pairs of earrings, maybe 2 koozies, maybe an ornament or 2. I will have $300 to $400 in product on one sheet of paper, which is amazing. And I think folks think I have to print a t-shirt, I have to use a piece of paper. Never. I don't know how, I hardly ever just use a piece of paper for a t-shirt. So, but when you add up, I mean, honestly, apparel is one of those things you have a great profit margin on. You really do. I mean, if you're buying your shirts from a great supplier and you're getting good pricing on that, I don't know about Heat Transfer Warehouse, but a lot of the places where you buy your printer from, sometimes they offer a residual discount if you continue to get your materials from them. And the place that I bought does that. So I feel like you can get, if you maximize the material and you produce a lot of items easily, I make my money back off that for the printer. And my printer's paid for. It paid for itself the first year. And I don't buy a piece of equipment unless I think I can pay it off in the first year. I don't want to be in debt under equipment. And it easily, I think we did $40,000 in apparel sales that like the Super Bowl run and playoff runs. So, I mean, there's no question. I only wish I would have bought it sooner. Honestly, I love my white toner printer, and I'm supposed to be getting the bigger one delivered here soon. I did some videos and stuff with Creo, and they're going to bring me one to do some more videos with them, and I'm like really excited to see. I love the little guy so much. I can't imagine what the big guy is gonna do. So I'm excited to get him here.
Yeah, even the little guy,
Right.
it prints on 11 by 17 sheets. I mean, so you can make a significant gang sheet of products in a single sheet.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things too, is maximizing that space on your printer sheet. I mean, I think that's important, no matter what you're working on, but like it really is important to try and maximize when every sheet is, $4, but it's totally doable.
Absolutely.
I do know that the Creo website has some calculators for small business owners as well. So you can kind of calculate out if the printer will work for you and can you justify it with your sales. And I feel like that is a good resource for people. When people ask me, I always reference that website for looking at, can you justify it for your small business? I feel like they do a good job at the calculations for people and making it simple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Have you had any like challenges you faced in incorporating white toner into your product line, and how did you overcome them?
Well, there was the learning curve in the beginning, or learning how to get the glue to transfer to the sheets. And mid use, at some point they changed the material on us. They went from the old material to the new material, and I have really struggled with the new material. I don't know why, but it was something in the formula. So I had some issues there. But as far as working it into my business, the only thing I would say is that DTF printing does have better stretch than white toner printing as far as it being on materials. But if your designs are designed well with good negative space and stuff, the feel is better, the stretch is better. So we did have to kind of learn to rework some of our designs to not have so much heavy coverage or just big flat images. They just don't work well. So there are some design things that you need to just change to make it better. But I don't have any problems with my clients. They wash well, they wear well. I honestly, and I've only had to talk to customer service twice in almost 3 years. One when I first got the machine, and one when I had an error pop up and I needed to order a part, which came and I could put in all by myself with no help at all. So take one out, put one in. It's so simple.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like that with the Creo printer in the software, it like has ways for you to knock out a certain color. So if you're putting, a design that has some black in it on a black shirt, it will knock out all the black. So it'll take away the black. So then you're just having the shirt underneath. And that is such a great way, one, to, save some toner, but then two, to get that stretch, because you'll end up with more negative space and it works really well.
Yeah, it's a really good feature.
When we're talking about the RIP software, I'm going to mention one of the biggest challenges a lot of people face, and it does not matter what DTF printing, white toner printing, RIP software is for PC only. So all you Mac people out there, you're going to have a challenge. You are going to have a PC, and you're going to have to learn how to use it again. So I just wanted to mention that. I feel like that's a challenge for a lot of people, including myself. I know, Corey, you had a challenge with that as well.
Yeah, I've been a Mac person now for decades at this point. I mean, for a really long time. And I had to go out and buy a little PC laptop. I went to Best Buy. I bought an open box that like hit the qualifications I needed to run the software. And now I actually use it all the time. I put it on I have a second computer now. So it runs all of my, heavy printers for the RIP software. And then I also use it as my Etsy shipping station. And it works, I'm like, okay, now I actually have two computers. So now I set my 9-year-olds over to, I'm like, ship my Etsy orders, go do that. And so now they're learning on both a Mac and a PC too. So hopefully they'll be computer bilingual.
Yeah, I'm Mac based too, and I will say I open their software and I upload my Dropbox. I do everything on my Mac. I send it to Dropbox. It syncs up to my little PC. I just open the file and hit print. I do not do any designing on a PC whatsoever. I'm definitely too Apple to do that, but
Same.
yeah.
That is absolutely exactly what I do. And then the only other thing that I've had people come to me about, and I do feel like with a white toner printer, you need a good heat press. So if you don't have a quality heat press, I would factor that into your purchasing decision as well. I feel like a lot of people purchase a very inexpensive heat press or don't really have a good quality heat press. And I feel like that's where a lot of their struggle comes in, mating the adhesive to the print. So I would also recommend good quality heat press with a white toner printer. So be sure you're going to make that investment as well, I think.
Yeah, this is not a Cricut Easy Press project.
No. Or an iron. You cannot use an iron. You cannot use an easy press. You need a real heat press. Now, I
Yeah.
don't have a name brand heat press, but I do. I mean, it's not a cheap one, but it's a good quality one. And I would say yes, you need something with good consistent heat and good consistent pressure to be successful.
Yeah, if you have something that doesn't have, like, maybe it's a little heavier on one side, then that marrying process becomes a lot more difficult because you really just need that firm, very even pressure to be able to
Yes.
do it properly. Something where you can adjust the pressure as well.
Mhm.
All right, next question. What advice would you give to a small business owner who is considering investing in a white toner printer?
Do it. No. I'm biased. I honestly, you have to look at your business and see, is apparel one of the things you do a lot of, obviously, or adding the other things that it can make, will that, justify the spend? The spend is not a small amount of money. Um, However, I just feel like if you are at the point where you can afford it and you are at a point where you really want to grow your business, it it will, if it will do that. There, I don't know how it could not grow your business, because it will give you the opportunity to do so much more than if you are on vinyl. And let's be honest, you have to weed vinyl, and I hate weeding vinyl. HTV is awful, and then you feel it. I would never weed vinyl again. And you don't have to weed anything. It just prints out and it goes on the shirt. It's so amazing. I would say, if you can afford it, I would take the leap. Like, I was so nervous about buying this printer, and then after I did, I'm like, oh, this was such a good decision for me and my business. And we do a lot of apparel and gifts. Um, and we have a brick and mortar store, so we do have a different kind of customer base, way more in person than online. Um, but it almost, if even if you're online, it makes that kind of direct to print to order kind of process super easy. You throw your digital designs on there, your shirt options, and they can pick and go. So if you're just using sublimation right now in HTV, I think it would be an amazing addition to anyone's arsenal of products. And if you're using DTF and you try one of these bad boys, you will never want to do DTF at home again. And some folks buy, and you can buy these transfers too. You don't have to, if you don't invest in the equipment, you can order from people like us. We're happy to sell you transfers, and you might be buying DTF ones right now if you want to try some white toner ones. I would say give it a chance for sure.
I actually don't make any apparel for my Etsy shop right now, but I have been making tote bags and zippered pouches and other things that are, in that same soft blank area. And I have the white toner prints on these really nice canvas tote bags at my craft shows. And people are always like, what is this printed with? Because it really, when you use this particular medium, it's called a T-seal sheet. You learn about it if you get a white toner
Mhm.
printer. It presses that design so nicely into the canvas that it looks like it's sublimated almost. I mean, it's gorgeous. And people are always like, how did you make this? And it has worked so well. So even if it's not necessarily apparel, there could be other ideas that you make, that kind of fall in that same realm. But yeah, definitely it works on a lot of different things.
Yeah, next to apparel, I mean, we sell so many earrings. Like, people love earrings, and they're pretty cost effective as far as what they, and we do cut our own blanks from the late with the laser. But I sell so many earrings, and there's lots of jewelry makers out there that I could see putting this thing to use.
Absolutely.
I feel like any type of large investment like this makes a small business owner nervous. Like it makes me nervous making a very large investment. And it is going to be nerve wracking. It absolutely is. So be sure, like, do your research, compare all the things, order prints, order DTF prints, order white toner prints, sort of compare them for yourself. See how well they look on, what you're making. And then do your research, especially on the things we've been talking about, the maintenance, the, constant monitoring that some of these printers require, and ask yourself like how much time you would save with these additional options. And I feel like once you factor those things into it, you'll see that the investment in this might be a better idea than some of the other printers on the market. All right. So we are going to ask one more question. But if you are joining us for the YouTube Live and you have questions for any of us, go ahead and drop those into the live chat and we will get to those in just a second.
All right. So, are there any like myths or misconceptions about white toner printing that you'd like to debunk, or anything else you'd like to talk about when it comes to white toner printing?
I think I've heard a lot of folks say it's just going to wash off. It's not going to last. I have shirts that are almost 2 years now, and they're still vibrant and colorful. They they last just as long as DTF does. I feel like that's the one thing people are always worried about is how long is it gonna last? It's and some folks think, well, she did that on her Cricut. Well, no, I didn't do it on my Cricut. It's not the same thing whatsoever. So I just feel like the folks worry about the longevity of the prints, and I've had no problems with that. Other than that, I don't think people really know much about white toner printing. I think it's new. It's basically powderless DTF. You know what I mean? It's dry ink and no powder, no mess, no cleanup. I just don't think that folks know a lot about it.
Yeah, I feel, oh my gosh, my brain just went blank. I was going to say something.
I'll
Okay,
take it. How about
go
that?
for it. Yes, please.
One of my favorite things about the way it wears, it's so similar to a screen print. So this screen print, if you've ever had a screen printed shirt that's made out of ink, the way it wears, it almost becomes a vintage looking shirt after, years and years and years, like those vintage band shirts that are from the 70s or something. And I feel like a white toner print wears in that same way, so that even though it might be wearing away, it still looks really good. It just becomes that almost vintage print after years and years and years of, laundering it. So I feel like because of that, I can use these shirts, apparel items way longer than something like a HTV. When HTV wears, it's just going to crack, peel up in the corners, and I'm done with it at that point. It looks horrible. But the way this wears, I feel like it wears in a way that people like the look of it almost, even after it's, been many, many years.
That is exactly what I was going to say. I feel like like over time, a lot of time, 50 plus washes, it will start to break down a little bit, but it won't peel or like come off in strips or crack in really ugly ways. It just sort of becomes more vintagey.
Mhm. Agree.
All right. So while Angie looks to see if we have any comments in our YouTube channels, Jessica, can you tell us a little bit more about the white toner sample kit you have?
Yeah, so since I knew I was going to be on here, and I figure lots of folks have questions and might have never even tried them or seen white toner prints. So we put together a little package. It is a holiday themed package, and in there you get blanks and transfers. So we have a t-shirt blank, or t-shirt print. Hold on. T-shirt transfer. You have to provide your own shirt. You put on whatever size, but then you have a blank towel, two blank koozies, a set of earrings, and I think a key fob, I think is what we have in there. So there's a bunch of different prints, different sizes. It'll have instructions on how to press and peel, so you can actually sample white toner printing, see how it looks, see how it feels, without having a huge investment right off the rip. But it's all holiday themed, so then you can just give them as Christmas gifts, and it's a win-win.
That's a great idea, actually. I love that. So if you want to grab this little white toner sample bundle, you can go to link.craftingcamps.com/white toner bundle, all one word. So that's link.craftingcamps.com/white toner bundle. Angie has a link for it up there in the corner if you're on the YouTube Live. If you're on the podcast, we'll also go ahead and put it in the podcast notes.
All right, and I have a couple of questions here, and we talked about this a little bit, but let's go ahead and go through it one more time. And is this something you will have to use often, or will the ink dry out or clog up if you don't?
No, there is no I went to Florida for 14 days this year over the summer, and I came back and I printed 20 shirts the day I came back. There is no maintenance whatsoever really. It does not clog because it's dry ink. So it's just like using that office printer at the office that uses the toner cartridges. It's just like that. So there's never any clogs, never streaks or runs. You turn it off, it could sit for a month if you had a hiatus that long, or you can use it every day. It doesn't matter. You'll never have to clean a single clog. It's ready when you're ready.
Yeah, I love it because it's dry, so there's nothing that like the toner's dry. There's nothing to dry out and clog. Like
Exactly.
it's amazing to be able. I've probably gone a month without using mine earlier this year, and when I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and I came back and got a print, and I was like, well, that is perfect. It's gorgeous.
Mhm.
I don't even leave mine plugged in. Like there's no like little maintenance cycles it needs to run. It doesn't use toner while it's you're not using it. It just sits there. It's fine. I unplug it when I'm ready to use it. A month later, I plug it in and the print is perfect. So zero maintenance, zero worries about ink drying out, zero reasons to remember to print something every other week. Like it's really, really great for that. All right, next question. Bigger means bigger paper, so more dollars for the paper. Like, is the paper more expensive the bigger you get?
So the paper I use is 11.7 inches by 19 inches. That's what I use on mine. And I have the Creo 8432. I don't know which model you guys have. And that's I pay $4. Basically, it's $4 a sheet for that. I haven't gotten the bigger printer in my hands, but I'm sure it will do. My guess is 13 by 19. Um, I can't imagine there's a huge cost difference, but if there is, it just means I'm going to put 5 more pairs of earrings on the piece of paper. So to me, I don't worry about the cost of paper anymore. I know for a fact that I am making way more in product on every sheet of paper than I am paying for the paper. So the profit margin is there. I don't worry about that anymore. And you're buying 100 sheets at a time. It lasts, quite a while, if you're not printing in the quantities that someone like I am. But um, if it's bigger, I just can put more on it. So if I have to pay a little bit more, I think the cost per square inch is probably similar would be my guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say if you fill it up, every inch is going to probably be about the same price.
Yes.
All right, this is a good question. What is your favorite project that isn't a shirt or apparel to make with white toner prints?
Okay, so not toner, not printer. Okay, I love earrings. That's one thing that we do. I do love to make. Right now, we have a lot of elf accessories out there. We have message boards from our elf. We have tic-tac-toe boards for our elves. We have envelopes that mail to and from the North Pole for our elves. We make painting canvases for little guys. Like they're these little mini canvases, and they just have like a drawing on them, and we get watercolor and a brush, and they can water. Basically, it puts the outline of the coloring page on the little canvas and has a little easel, and they paint those in. I love making like the stuff for the little stuff for the kids. We have tons of stocking stuffers right now that we make with our white toner printing. So we make so much more than t-shirts.
One of my favorite things that the white toner printer can do is it can print white on black cardstock. So if
Invitations.
you want to make beautiful invitations or, something like that or artwork, that's possible too. I mean, and it's pretty bold and bright white on that black, and it's pretty incredible to do one of those projects as well.
One of the other things I would say that we haven't mentioned, it also does foils. So you can buy heat stamping foils. And we do that on invitations a lot where you print in black and then you lay the foil on it, you heat press it and you peel it and you have foiled invitations. Or you can add the foils to your shirts as well. So in your apparel, so you can add some bling to different things by using the foils, which is not something any of the other print methods for apparel offer, but the foils are really neat when it comes to doing stationery wedding invitations. It just gives that extra glam, and it's super super easy to do.
Yeah, something we haven't talked about is that you can just print regular prints to this, like your office printing. It's just a toner printer at the end of the day, and you could just use this as sort of your office printer as well. So if you wanted to print a document on it or something like that. So I did want to mention that because I get a lot of questions about that. People run a small business and they don't want 5 printers, one for office printing, one for this, one for that. And this could be a solution for that as well. If you want to just print like documents on it, you can do that.
Yeah, the black ink, we should mention the black ink is made up of a composite of cyan, yellow, and magenta. So there's no black toner cartridge in at least the Creo printer. And I will say the blacks I don't think pop quite as much as you might get with DTF. However, all of the trade-offs with DTF, I'm okay with it just being ever so slightly less black.
However, you can take your white toner printer, the white toner cartridge out. I think you can put the black in if you know you're going to run a bunch of stationery or whatever and just use the black setting. And then when you're done, take it out, put your white back in and go back to your white toner printing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Next question. Do the prints work well with the auto press? So I'm going to say no because I've tried some of this. I only recommend a printer that you can use heavy pressure for white toner printing. I feel like I got mixed results. Sorry. I feel like I got mixed results with my auto press when I tried it. So I always just say no unless someone else has other experience.
I did not have a good experience either. It just doesn't, even I tried using like my other tricks to get things to be a little bit stiffer inside the auto press with the more stiff mat and, those sorts of things. But the press time is not long enough for that to make a difference. It's long enough to make a difference if you're pressing tiles or something that has to sit in a heat press for, 4 to 8 minutes. But, we're looking 15, 30 seconds here for a press, and it's just not long enough for the auto press to kind of do its job.
Yeah. I don't have an auto press, but I would say no.
We have all the heat presses.
Yes. So I try a lot of things with a lot of different presses. All right. I think that's all our questions.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, make sure to check out JC Boutique at, I somehow deleted the email address. Or the website address? JC Boutique, no, JC Gifts. You have to tell me.
It is giftsbyjc.com.
There we go. Giftsbyjc.com. I don't know how I deleted this out of my document here. So make sure you go there, see everything Jessica has to offer, get that little white toner bundle if you want to try it out. It's such a great way to sort of see what you can do with white toner printing.
So we are taking a break from the podcast for the holidays. We hope you have a very restful and amazing holiday season, and we can't wait to join you again. And we're going to be back on January 16th for our second season, so be sure to join us then. And if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe to Crafting for Profit Live so you never miss an episode. We have a link in the description below to our email list, and that's the best way to get notifications. Don't forget to leave us a review if you want to show us some love for the holiday season. And be sure to send this episode to any friends you think might be interested in white toner printing or thinking about investing in a white toner printer.